Yo ratings! This is garthrs, the tireless adventure with a brand new series on Life is Feudal, Your Own. Yes, you have to say it just like that or it doesn't count. This is a Steam game, probably about $40 standard. Sometimes you can catch it on sale or whatnot. This series that I'm going through now is going to be predominantly tutorial with a little bit of play mixed in. For the most part, this game is, I'd say, complex. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's complex. There are several options available to you when you first open the game. You can set up your controls, your video, your audio, your players, which apparently doesn't work. But audio does pretty good. You can set all your stuff up in there. It's pretty decent, pretty easy, pretty cut and dry. If you ever lose your mouse cursor after, like what I just did, I did that for a very specific reason. You notice my mouse cursor is gone. If you hit escape and then click no, your mouse cursor is back. And the narwhal just said, "Tell me before you start recording and I won't bother you anymore." I'm recording now. You will be on YouTube. Yeah, he just got the game and I was answering a few questions. Which reminds me, if you want to send me an invite on Steam, garthrs is a Steam name. I'm usually fairly friendly, but if I ignore you, it's usually because I'm recording. Alright, so anyways, you have a couple of options. You have the option to create a world, which basically opens an instance on your computer, a server instance on your computer that when you exit the game, it exits the game. So the server will close when you get out. So if you want to run a dedicated server that you can stay on, that will stay on after you leave, then feel free to do so. And the instructions to do that, I'm not going to repeat those because somebody else has done them and he's done them well. His YouTube name is Prolasis, Prolasis, and he has a video which I'll put a link to that description in the comments below. I don't know anything about databases, and I was able to follow his tutorial and it worked perfectly. So he's definitely got it going on there. So make sure you give him a thumbs up when you get there and comment, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. He definitely deserved it. That tutorial for a server setup was brilliant. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I have a server running in the background that I made using his video, and I'm going to go ahead and join that. But first I want to show you how to navigate the server screen, which is on Join a World. Now you see up here it's getting all your items shown. This first episode is going to be, like I said, predominantly tutorial on UI and stuff like that, and character creation and whatnot. It takes a second to populate. There's a lot of servers out there. But you can sort them by whether or not they're protected, by their name, how many players are on, what their latency is, the whole 9 yards. There's also whether or not your friends have one of us. Let's see. That is... Who's that? Who made that? You can add it to favorites if you want. Right now, one of us, RP encouraged. I don't know who that is. I obviously have a friend playing it. Maybe that's Narwhal. That's the one he's in right now. But yeah, you can definitely favorite it. This is where you would, of course, your favorites would be, and then any history. I don't have any favorites, and I don't have many friends. But anyways, what I do is I do a direct connect to my own server. And if you select a server, you can see the server name, if it's password protected, the players that are on is 1 of 64. This one is the skill cap, which you can set up in the server files. On this is 600, and I'll explain that here in a second. Skills and stats progression multiplier is standard, it's 1. Terraforming is a little bit slower. Crafting speeds look about default. Actually, this is above default. Default is, no, that's 60. Plant growth period is 4. That's pretty cool. Animal count's 50. That's all pretty good, pretty standard. A lot of these base servers, like if you just grab one, you'll see that the wild animal count can go anywhere from like 20 to 200. It depends on the machine and how good it is at handling it. A lot of these guys have set up their own server and stuff like that, like I said. But one thing that you want to keep in mind, and I'm fairly certain I'm correct on this, your characters are tied to the server. So if you put a lot of work into one character and go to move to another server, then you will not be able to use that character on another server. So I could be wrong on that. I doubt I am. Like I said, if you want to do the single player version, you can totally do that. You just cancel and you go over here to create a world. I will tell you right now that this game is single player brutal. Some of the key features of this game, of course, would be it's a skill-based game. It's got tiered skills. It's definitely a survival crafting game. It's very co-op friendly, and it has a configurable UI, which is, in my opinion, amazing. Downside to this game, of course, is it is an alpha. A lot of features are not yet implemented. In my opinion, it's very unforgiving. It's single-player brutal, like I already said, and you really rely on the randomness of multiplayer servers if you don't host your own. So I'm going to go ahead and join my world now and give you guys a brief run-through on character generation. Direct connect. You guys get to look at my IP address. Don't hand it out to anybody. Don't hand it out. Please don't. Please don't. Oh yeah, now you see my password too. Oh man. All right, now I've already got a character created here, but when you first start this map or first start your server or whatever, this will be blank. There'll be no one there, so you can create a new player. Now I can't use the first name Garth because it won't allow you to do that. So I'm going to use this guy, Tutorial Dude. This is my family name. And gender is coming soon. Right now everybody's a male. In your settings, your appearance is also coming soon, so you can't change any of this stuff. Attributes, these are your base stats. Now in the wiki, attributes means something different, and I'll give you a link to the wiki as well, which is incomplete but should be helpful. These are called stats on the wiki, but attributes here. Strength is defined as your physical strength, agility is your maneuverability, constitution is your physical hardiness, this is your drive or willpower, and obviously your intelligence, which is referred to as intellect on the wiki. So, what I like to do, first of all, before I even go to attributes, is I go to race. And there's 3 types of races. This is a very general guy. He's good at a lot of stuff. This guy is predominantly a good craftsman, woodsman, stuff like that. And this guy right here is good at survival, like nature's lore and farming and stuff like that, due to the harsh environments. I like to go with this first guy because it's got the most well-rounded stats. You can also change what your armor looks like. I usually just pick something random, and there we go, there's that. So I've got, I don't know how to say it, Aurelian. It's hard to say. Anyways, so once you select a race, your stats will change a little bit, and as you notice, if you go up high enough, other stats start going down. So you basically have a max number of points that you can do. Like if I set them all to 15, I think that right there, so that's 60. So this is 75 would be the max. So we move it up 1 and everything goes down. So I've only moved up 1 here, but I lost 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can move this up 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So there we go. There you go, 3. So now if I bring it up 1 more, boom, they all drop by 1. So I'm not moving willpower because that's especially important. It really depends on what you're going to do. So before I get into the attributes, like I said, I'll tell you this to tell you that. You have crafting skills. These are your predominant skills, and majority of these are implemented, but some are not. Now each one of these skills right here is what I'm going to call a tier 1 skill. And there are other skills that are, you know, boosted off of prospecting, would be like mining and then forging and then craftsman and all kinds of different stuff. Actually, as a matter of fact, I got them right over here. So let me just go ahead and read them off to you. Off of prospecting is mining, smelting, forging, and armor smithing. Off the forestry is logging, carpentry, bowcraft, and warfare engineering. Off of nature's lore is gathering, herbalism, healing, alchemy. Off of terraforming is construction materials preparation, construction, masonry, and architecture. And off of farming is animal lore, procuration, cooking, and tailoring. You'll notice that there is nothing after this. However, there is an entire subset of skills called secondary skills, which are fishing, hunting, jewelry, arts, piety, and mentoring. And some of those aren't implemented completely yet. So what I like to do is I like to look at the abilities that I have. Like there's not really a mouse over tooltip here to tell you what needs what. So it's kind of like a guesstimation. That's where your wiki is going to come in really handy. Because, for instance, prospecting is a primary stat of constitution with a secondary stat of willpower. So if I have a really weak constitution and willpower, my prospecting is not going to be as good as it would be if I had high constitution and willpower. However, the second tier in, actually I just read the wrong one to you. It's intellect and strength on prospecting. Intellect primary, strength is secondary. But mining, which is the second one in this tier, is strength and constitution. and then the third one is agility and intellect. So you have to really look at what you're going to do with your character before you assign your attributes, or stats as they're called on the wiki. So what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to make him pretty well rounded. I'm going to leave him at 15 prospecting. I'm going to take forestry to 30, and the reason I'm taking it to 30 is because, you know, that's very important. It's actually the minimum that you can do with this guy. But the other reason is, in order to open up logging, I have to have 30 points in forestry, because logging is a tier 2 skill off of forestry. Nature's lore, I'm going to leave it at 15 because I can level that fairly quickly. Terraforming, I'm also going to leave that at 15 because I can put that pretty good right off the get-go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this one up to 30 as well. Actually, I'm going to take it up to 45. And bring farming down to 14. Yeah, I'm bringing it to 14 and bring this one up to 45. That gets pretty good, because Nature's Lore is where you're going to get a lot of your early food. Now, farming is a great way to get food, but you will starve to death before your crops grow. So you want to make sure you have some points in Nature's Lore so you can gather stuff. So now that we have those worked up, let's look at what we have. Nature's Lore is predominant intellect and willpower. Gathering is willpower and constitution, which is the second skill in that. So let's go up here to our attributes, and let's go with intellect, willpower, and constitution in that order. So let's go with 18, 17, 16, no. I guess I can go 15, 16, 17. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Strength and agility will come up over time. They are very important skills and other things that we're going to be doing, but predominantly these three are going to be our main shooters right there. Because farming is agility, willpower, so we have willpower covered. Agility is, of course, a 12. And terraforming is constitution, strength. Constitution we have covered right there. Strength will come up as we do that. So that's one of the reasons why I say go to your crafting skills first and figure out what it is you want to do. Now, some of these combat skills aren't really implemented yet, so my recommendation to you is to leave them be. I mean, feel free to do whatever you want, but I can tell you right now that early game, these are going to matter very little. Very little. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Now, I'm going to call this guy good. We've maxed out our attribute possible points. We've maxed out our crafting skill possible points. I'm going to click this guy one more time because I think that one's great. It's totally random though. And then we're going to call it good, and we're going to click the done. Now, when you first come into the server, you just click your dude, and then you click play. And it'll say waiting for server, and it'll give you some of these keys, you know, like keep an eye on your furnace to make sure it's always has fuel ready. Don't let it burn out, blah, blah, blah. But I can tell you right now, this first couple of episodes, we will not be going over furnaces. It's going to take a few minutes to get to furnaces. This is effectively what I call a single-player game. I don't know if Drops is on here or not, but if he is, we'll pretend like we don't know him, and we'll be like, oh, you're a stranger. Don't talk to me. Servers do take a few minutes to load, though. Just as a recap, we've already covered starting the game, the basic UI on the interface with the server navigation, how brutal single player can be. We covered character creation. Now, I would like to say for one thing, if you get tired of waiting for a screen or something like this and you decide to hit the escape key, exit, will end the game, not leave the server. So that's a very key thing to remember. When you hit exit, you're not exiting the server, you're exiting the game. There is no way to back out of a server. There we go. So this is when you come in. Boom! Now, the very first thing you want to notice is that my mouse look is disabled. Hit tab. Hide your mouse, activates the look. Second thing you want to do is close that window and then hit F10. F10 brings up your UI, and you can change your effects and where they're located and all this nonsense. I can move my hunger around. I can move my hunger right here if I want. My alignment down here. I can move my character even down lower. I can move my hotbar up. I leave target right over the screen because when you highlight over them, their name will appear in this block. And then you just hit F10 again. Boom. So now we're good. Remember, hit tab to return to your look. And we're going to start looking around, and we're going to see that this place is freaking amazing. Now, some people like to have a map on their screen. Some people do not. And as you can see, there's some tears right there. So this is definitely, like I said, an alpha game. So back to the map. We're going to look at map here. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is where Drops was fishing. I found Drops fishing. Campfire and a log. Very nice. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our map with the letter M. Boom. Now, I can't do anything with the map right now because my cursor is locked to my crosshairs. But if I hit tab, boop, I can totally do that. I can move the map around with this. I can click this to zoom in on myself or zoom in on my home. Or I can just turn on that where it shows elevations and junk. And then I can turn on this where everything is back the way it should be. You can also click this to scroll in or use your scroll wheel to scroll in and out. Now, as you can see from the map right now, this is where I am. Actually, this is pretty cool because our house is right there and Newbie Island is right there. So let's go over to Newbie Island. No, just kidding. Let's start here. What I've done with this is when your map first comes out, it'll look like this and it'll be in the center of your screen. But when you have it open like this, you can change it and move it wherever you want, and that's where it'll stay. I like that feature. And then if I get tired of looking at the map, I just hit M and it goes away. And if it's there, it's there. See what I'm saying? Perfect. Now, this is your message chat window. This is your system where it tells you whether or not a skill's been leveled up. This is your combat window, and this is your global window for chats and junk. This is your hit points. This is your stamina. Now you have two different kinds of stats. This is going to be so boring for you guys. You have a hard stat and a soft stat on these two. A hard stat is basically your permanent number, where your soft stat is your temporary number. As you can see, my permanent stamina is 103. My temporary stamina is 106. If I go forward and start sprinting with the shift key, you'll notice that my stamina starts dropping, but only the soft stamina. And then when I let go, it instantly regenerates, depending on how much your hunger is, because the hunger is tied into a lot of things. In order to regenerate your soft stamina, it uses hard stamina. So to regenerate 100 soft stamina requires 1 hard stamina. To regenerate 1 hard stamina requires 1 food and one hunger and about 40 seconds. So that's how long it takes that stuff to come back out. So you're tempted to sprint everywhere you go. Yeah! You're going to be hungry a lot faster. A lot faster. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to sprint because I just don't even follow my own advice. And I'm going to run over here towards the trees and I'm going to show you a couple of key things. And on the way to the trees, we're going to stop right here. And we're going to say, why are you stopping here, Garth? I'm going to say, here's some more interface for you. You have 2 actions. You have the left click, which does a default. And then you have the right click, which brings up a menu. Now you notice this green square? This is the square that I'm currently performing actions in. And the default action is prospect for copper, i.e. left click. If I want to change my default, I can go to whatever skill I'm going to go to and just right click it. Actually, give me one, it's not create a campfire, and that becomes the default. What we're going to do is nature's lore, gather plant fibers. Boom. So now that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go to third person with the letter C so you guys can see that I'm buff and naked. What? You can also unlock your camera by holding down V, and you can see that this guy is angry. Oh my god, he's angry. And he's ugly a little bit too. Anyways, all right. Now I haven't clicked on this. I thought I did, but when you finish that, you see I did get 1 wild plant fiber, which increased my nature's lore by 1.3 up to 46.31. It also raised my intellect, which is the prime ability, and willpower, which is the second ability of that skill. And once I get by the letter L here, couldn't find it on my keyboard for some reason. This is nature's lore right here. You click on it and you can see all your actions that are available up through 30. You can spot and gather edible plants and useful fibers on the current cell, which is that little green thing I was showing you. If you click the 30 right there, you see can spot common herbs on a current cell, can find ingredients on animal bodies. Once I get up above 30 or above 60, I'll be able to spot fresh herbs on current cell and common herbs on 2 adjacent cells. And then of course we have 90 and then 100. In order for me to get gathering right here, I have to have at least 30 in nature's lore. Gathering level 0 allows me to look for and gather berries and mushrooms, which is the reason why I put at least 30 in nature's lore. Now this window is open, my mouse is free, but if I hit tab, it closes that and gives me my mouse back. So let's go over here to this again and go to Nature's Lore and search for herbs. Probably won't find anything. What's he doing? Looks like he's taking a whiz. Yeah, you failed to find anything. But we do have a plant fiber, and that's important. So that's one of the things that you definitely want to get a few of. What, plant fibers? Plant fibers. Boop. Let's get that. Bump, 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 bump. And don't get confused early on in the game. Search for wild plants under farming. Gather wild plants. Don't get confused with search for herbs and plant fibers. Wild plants is stuff that you can eat, but predominantly you're going to want to plant it. Does that make sense? So we do have 2 wild plant fibers. So we're going to go over here and show you how to work a tree. Bring it! Look at God, he's muscular. He's so awesome. Look, Drops cut a tree down. He's a jerk. He cut one of my trees down. All right. There's several options that we have when we right-click on a tree. Forestry and logging. Now, my logging isn't very high right now, but so I can get a bark. But predominantly what I'm going to want to do is inspect the tree. And you'll see when I get done inspecting the tree, I will probably, okay, you see a major maple tree. You estimate its quality as 61. It has been chopped down at 0, which means it hasn't been chopped down at all. It contains the following useful resources: 5 barks, 10 branches, and 1 maple sprout. And you'll note that over here in the bottom right hand corner, from inspecting that tree, my forestry went up 0.5. Wow, sweet. What else can we do to bring up a forestry? So, well, let's get our mouse pointer back and go to forestry and get a sprout, because we know it has 1 on it, and we're going to see how much it increases our stat, our skill based on that. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, I got 1 maple sprout, and you'll notice that my forestry went up by 2.4. So if you need to boost your forestry, maple sprout is a great way to do that. Get a branch, maple sprout, get a bark if you need to bring up logging. Now we are going to need a branch, so I'm going to snap a branch, which takes a few seconds, which, as you note, was the default. Which, if I'd have just walked up and left-clicked a tree, that's what it would have done. You can also use the letter E if you don't want to hold your hand on your mouse. Like, let's say I come over here to Nature's Lore, search for something edible, make that the default. Then I can just sit here and rest my chin on my hand and just keep hitting the letter E every time that bar gets done. Oh, let's go. Fail to find anything? All right, let's hit E again. You see, that's one of the reasons I like this game, because I'm lazy. But, yeah, gathering berries and mushrooms and stuff like that, which is available to you when you have gathering 0, that is definitely something you want to think about. Let's go over my map. I'm going the wrong way, that's why. I was like, none of this looks familiar. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to some place I know there happens to be some useful flint, and because that is the 3rd thing that you're going to need, which is an option available to you under prospecting. You're going to get there. We're going to get there. And as soon as we get, actually, I could probably do that now. No, I don't. I need the useful flint. Now your hard hit points and your hard stamina are based on your stats. Like, I'll give you an example here. Your stats. The Constitution basically raises your hard and soft hit points by 1. Each point of Constitution raises it by 1 above the minimum. And as you can see from my P, I have a 15 Constitution and a 105. So you have 90 hit points plus your Constitution. Your stamina is raised by your willpower, which is 0.6 or 16.06. So we have basically a 90 stamina plus your willpower, which is 16, so 106. And then, of course, your intellect raises your skill cap by 1. And you say, skill cap? Wait a minute, skill cap? I'm like, yes, I will show you here in a second. As a matter of fact, I'll show you right now. Go back to your skill window. Sometimes you may have to hit the button twice to bring it up, but there you go. Look at the bottom. My skill cap right now is 607. I only have 125 skills utilized. right there. Now if we come back over here and we look at my intelligence, which is 17, 607, the skill cap for a 0 intellect, which you can't have, but the skill cap is 590 plus your intelligence. So that's how that goes. And I'm gonna go steal some useful flint from my dude because it's like a week away from everything. Oh, I want to show you this real fast. When you're looking at your map, let me release this and bring it over here and make it big so you can see. I'm going to scroll in as far as I can, which that's pretty much it. And there's a couple of features you want to look at. Obviously, the green, the dark green like this, those are trees. Light green, that's grass. This little brown right there, that's going to be clay. This little white up here, that's going to be marble. Those are the kind of things you want to look for. You're going to need those things for different things to do the things that you want to do with the other things. Make sense? Perfect. I knew you guys would love it. I knew it! And I need to get over. I need to get over there. You know what? Give me a second. Let's see if I might be able to do this here. This will be faster. You have to be basically allowed to do this. So I'm just going to fly over to the mountain. Oh wait, this is where I wanted to go. This is our little camp area right here. I'm just flying over here to show you where to look for flint and stuff, and the kind of stuff that you want to look for. Now, you may find it in other places. The map's pretty much the same for everybody, but I'm just going here because I know it's here. Now, you see, go back to F7, turn into a person. Then I walk up, then I walk up, okay. Then I walk up here, and you see the little green square. Under prospecting, I have an option, search for useful flintstone. I found one! Yay! Now it's inventory time. I for inventory. That's right, people. I for inventory. That's one area I do have beef with. When you close any window, it closes all the windows. And we have I for inventory and T for equipment. So this is our character's equipment slots. I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it over here. The available slots will highlight and I just drop it. And then he puts it on and I'm no longer naked. Sorry, ladies. My current equipped weight is 1 of 22. Equipped weight is garnered by your strength. So the amount of weight you can have equipped is dependent on your strength. The amount of weight you can carry is dependent on your willpower. Does it make sense? Okay, I'm glad it doesn't. Anyway, so here's our inventory. We can grab and move items around. You can shift click them to split a stack, like my cookies here that everybody starts with. I shift click and I can say, all right, split a stack, 3 and 2. And then it'll split the stack. Or I can say, you know what, I don't want you split, I want you together. Just drag them over there. So I have a stick, I have 2 wild plant fibers, and I have a flintstone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the stick or this or this. And I'm going to go to create primitive tool, which is the default action, or you can find it under forestry. Create primitive tool. Bloop. And of course my map is in the way, so let me close that map. And this will give you this window right here, which is like your crafting window. And you're going to drop it down, you're going to pick it out. What we're going to pick out, first of all, we're going to pick out a primitive shovel. And it's going to tell us that we need 1 stick. We have 1. Red number is needed, green is what you have. 1 flintstone, 1 half, 1 plant fiber, 2 half. And there's 2 ways you can do it. You can just drop them down here like this. Or, yeah, you gotta be very careful. Or, you can just click craft if the items are already in your inventory. I personally just click craft because it's quicker. And then he'll make the tool. And it's gonna take longer than that because remember I'm in GM mode. And GM mode is quickerer. So once we've made that, we can close this window, and then we can take this tool and drag it over here, and we'll see that it can only go in one of these top 2 slots because it's considered a large tool. Now if you have like a sickle or a hammer, you can put those in one of these 2 leg slots where it kind of hangs off your belt. And now that we've equipped it, you'll see it on his back, and you're like, sweet dude, you've got a shovel on your back, and it just basically looks like a big stick. I'm like, that is totally right. Now you notice down here at the bottom right here, it says you have received primitive shovel 1. It increased my forestry by 6. And we're like, well, okay, now we're running rampant. I remember you saying that we had all kinds of points here but we had a max that we could use. And we're like, yeah, that's pretty much right. Now, forestry right now is at 30, which means I can use logging. Is at least 30. I don't want it to go up anymore. So I click this until this becomes a lock, and that skill will not raise again. This one, however, will cap out based on this one. So if forestry's at 31, then I won't be able to bring logging above 30. It'll stick at 29.99 until this is at least at 60. So remember, this skill can be no higher than 30 less than this one. Does that make sense? Okay. And like I said, tiered skills. This is the prospecting, and then it goes all the way out, and this is the forestry that goes all the way out. And these are the fishing, hunting, arts. These you can all raise anytime. I think a lot of these are not implemented yet. Like, yeah, mentoring is not. Piety is. Ooh, nice. You can praise my deity. And by the way, praising your deity raises your alignment. There you go. Not yet implemented on arts. Not yet implemented on jewelry, which, by the way, when it does get implemented, it'll affect your luck stat, which is a stat that you don't see. And then we have fishing, hunting, which is implemented. Totally. All right, so let me show you a way. I keep hitting escape instead of tab to get my mouse pointer back. Click on one of these right here. You have some terraforming options. Terraforming is one of the abilities that you're going to need for plowing, flattening land, digging a mining tunnel. That's very important. So we want to lower the ground level, and when we do that, we can look wherever we want, and he'll still be doing that one spot. And he's going to get done soon because he likes frustrating me. And you see in the bottom left hand or bottom right hand corner here, we have received 30 fertile soil, increased our terraforming by 2.5. Our constitution, blah, and our strength, blah. Because constitution is your primary, strength is your secondary. And Two Cranes is playing the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. All right, so what can we do with the fertile soil? You know what? I don't know. So let's find out. Let's go into our inventory. A lot of times you can find out what actions are available for you by right-clicking an option. Right-click. And then you see our only option is to pour it on the ground. But if you don't want to do that, that will still give you terraforming points, by the way. You can select this, go to terraforming, and raise ground level, and it will use that 30 soil to raise it one increment. You're like, well, raise slower? I don't know. Why would we do that? I mean, why would you need to raise or lower the grounds? Well, first of all, buildings and structures and stuff like that have to be put on flat ground. So how do we know exactly what this looks flat down here? Let's go look at this real fast. Jump. I can jump for like a week going down the hill. Like down here, I mean, this looks fairly flat. I mean, we could probably put a house on this, right? Probably. Probably not. Now, remember earlier I said about the clay areas? If you look on the map, and this is what I wanted to do. Bring the map centered on myself. Scroll in there. You see right there, that little brown area? This is the clay. This is what I was telling you about. You can just come over to it and dig it out if you want with terraforming lower ground level. Or what I wanted to show you was the ground level. Now, in order for me to look at the ground, I'm going to go to terraforming and observe. And when I do that, you'll note your free mouse look. Go hit your tab and it'll loosen up. And you'll see the elevation of the specific squares. Now, I can't put a house on this. I mean, they seem pretty level and flat. And you notice that the more red a number is, the sharper the grade. Like down here at the bottom, we have 22 and 22.2, and they are pretty green. However, you see it goes up here from this all the way up. This is the higher the grade, the darker red the number. Red squares are squares that you cannot affect by terraforming, or that are going to block construction. When you're done looking at this, you can either hit escape or click cancel. And that's one of the reasons that we're going to terraform. Now, I'm going to run back down here real fast. And I'm sprinting. I'm sprinting. Oh, this in the woods I want to show you. There's certain areas where you can do certain functions. This episode is probably going to be a little bit longer than normal, but we'll get into some more stuff later. Some areas you have things available that are not available in other areas. Like gathering would be available in this area because of the type of the terrain. We're going to go to gather berries as a default action. and I'm going to do this until I gather a berry. Come on now. Be nice. Nothing. But anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to gather a berry. Now, you can gather edible root through Nature's Lore, but it's not going to be very filling. It's not going to have very good quality food. And the reason that I bring that up is because your food, your hunger, is based on the complexity and quality of the items that you eat. Like, this is a cookie. Its complexity is low because it's a cookie. Its quality is 10, which is also fairly low. So when you eat this, you'll notice that my food hunger is at 88 right now. When I eat that, you're going to notice it goes up, I believe, 5. Okay, yeah, it went up 6 actually. And I did also get points in general actions for that. But one thing that you want to keep in mind is that your hunger is affected by what's called a complexity modifier, or a food quality modifier, which is basically the quality of the last 5 items that you ate times your hunger, where your whatever your hunger is. On this one, it was probably 5, and with a complexity of like 10, so it rounded up to 6 or some junk like that. And then it also uses the complexity of the food. So if the food is extremely complex, i.e. a lot of ingredients, and it's high quality, i.e. made by a good chef, then when you eat it, you'll get more of a benefit out of it. And your skill regen and progression is based on your food multiplier and how saturatedly full you are, if that makes sense. So hunger is very important. Now you notice that my hunger went down fairly quickly. It will take several in-game days for crops to grow. Several in-game days. I can tell you that right now. My server was running pretty much all day yesterday and a majority of today. My throat's starting to hurt. And it basically, had barely grown at all. I had to actually, to make sure it was working, I used the GM command to grow things one day, and it was, it didn't grow very much. So basically, we've made a shovel. If you want to find out what it takes to make an item, you need to, first of all, have a branch or something that you can right-click on in your inventory. I had this right here. But something that's basically a tool constructing item. I'll show you here in a second. Alright, so I got a branch. Right-click on the branch, create primitive tool, close my map. And you can see basically a sickle, which requires what you need for gathering and stuff like that. Wild plants, you need 1 flintstone, 1 stick, one of those. A primitive saw requires 3 sticks, 7 those. And you need these tools for different things. Like you can make a torch out of whatever this is, naphtha, which I believe you need from, what you get from herbalism. You can make a primitive fishing pole fairly early, which is going to be one of your primary sources of food. You can make a sling, which is pretty cool, and you can also prospect for sling ammunition. You can make a primitive cooking pot, but that requires rock, which you have to mine from the earth, with a primitive pickaxe, which requires 1 stick, 1 flint, and 3 of those, and then you can use that. It looks like that. Some of the examples of smaller tools that you can put on your belt: sickle, hammer, crucible and stick, which you're going to use for forging, but yeah, not anytime soon. Primitive knife. These are the kind of things that you're gonna have to have the capability to make in the primitive tools. Other tools will be made using forging, which is much further down the line. So, with all that being said, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and call this episode here. I've showed you the basic interfaces and stuff like that. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. But be advised that another tutorial will be forthcoming with a little more in-depth. Now, some of these items here we won't see for a while, but I'll show you how to get through each thing. The important key things to remember about this game, is it is brutal single player. So if you are going to play it single player, go into your setup files, which the internet can help you find it, and boost that skill cap above 600. Because if you don't, you're going to be hard pressed getting some of these abilities up high enough for you to actually do all of the things that you need to do. So forging or smelting, just to make, you know, iron, just to smelt iron copper out of the ore, you need at least 60 in here to get this to 0. So this would have to be at 90 for this to be at 30. And at 30, you can smelt precious ores into lumps, bars only in jewelry. And at 60, you can make steel. You see what I'm saying? So in order for this to be 60, this has to be 90, this has to be 100. You see where I'm going with that? It's very difficult to get up there. So you want to make sure you have your skill cap nice and high. At least this is how I understand it as of yet. And my other character doesn't have a lot of skills maxed out, but I have a whole lot of them locked, and I'm almost out of points. So that should give you an idea of how brutal the skill set system is. All right, so until next time, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to check the description for the server tutorial and the link to the Life is Feudal Wiki, which you will find extremely useful. And hopefully, in the very near future, you can find it in your heart to pick this game up, because it is definitely worth the purchase price. I do want to say thank you, by the way, to Creeper Magnet, who gave me this game. He got it from Lucklin, who said give it to somebody who you think would have fun with it, and that's exactly what he did, and I am having a blast with it. So thanks a lot, Creeper Magnet, you rock. Thanks a lot, Lucklin, you rock. And thanks a lot, you guys, for watching my video and clicking that thumbs up and subscribing and sending a letter to your mom about how great I am. I mean, these are all reasons that you rock. So until next time, bye-bye.